Good afternoon. Welcome. I was once at a yoga class and the yoga instructor raised his arm and everyone was really quiet. But the only thing I learned is, yoga is better to do in the dark with your colleagues. It was a different experience to do it at work, but we had a lot of fun. Welcome. I'm Marla Clemo and I am the regional president for Wells Fargo, and I'm very proud to kick off this year's 26th Annual Business Forecast Conference. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you to all of you that support VICA, and thank you to VICA for putting this all together. I know that when I come to these events, I think about several things that I take away from these events. But it reminds me of what my grandfather would always tell me. I grew up in a very small town in Wisdom, Montana, a town of 100 people, so about a third of this room. And my grandfather would say, always leverage your resources, because it's a small town. There's not a lot of resources. And that's what VICA does for us. It brings us the resources we need to be successful. And today is no exception. So it gives us an opportunity to do a couple of things. One, to connect with each other. I know when I think about the Valley, everybody lends a helping hand. And two, to maybe learn something that we didn't know before we came here today. And we have that same type of mission at Wells Fargo. We are committed to helping our customers succeed financially. That's our vision. And how do we do that? We do that through resources as well. So our most important resources is the first thing is our people. So I want to thank all of our bankers that are here today, table 13 and table 20. If you guys could stand up and wave. I'm very proud to say that the 2,000 team members that I lead, we have over 100 business bankers here locally. We are your local bank to serve you. At Wells Fargo, we are called to be servant leaders, so we have over 100 business bankers to help you with your small business, anything you need, from starting up to expanding your business, to growing your business, and even selling your business. And anything you can imagine, we have over 80 different business lines we can do for you. Merchant, payroll, international, come to us. In addition to that, we're growing. So I'm really proud to say in my region, we're going to be opening 9 new store locations to better serve you. One very soon, the end of October, is in Sherman Oaks on Ventura and Hazeltine in the new Ralph's Shopping Center. So come see us. We want to show you our new store that will have all the energy efficiencies, and we're very proud of that new location. And we'll have 9 others in the next 6 months. And then lastly, Wells Fargo is committed to our small businesses in the form of lending. We continue to be the #1 lender in volume for small businesses. We know how important that having access to capital is for all of you. So my message today is we're here for you. We're here to help. Anything that you need, please call on us. As I was thinking about today, I thought about some trivia. So I tried to look up different trivia for Burbank. And the most fun fact I found, I don't know if you all know, but it was founded in the 1800s by Dr. David Burbank from New Hampshire. He was a dentist and industrialist, and he sold the land to the Southern Pacific Railroad, and get this, for $1. So that was a lot less than what we heard from the housing prices here today from our economists and from all we know. But we've had a great day so far, and thank you to all of you who have participated. We want to welcome all of our elected officials. If some of you have come in and that we haven't seen you, please let me know. But please recognize we have here today California State Assemblyman Tim Donnelly. Tim, are you out there? Thank you for coming. And we have our Glendale School Board member, Greg Krikorian. Greg, are you here? Thank you again for your support of our 26th Annual Business Forecast Conference. I also want to thank our VICA Board of Directors and Board of Governors. Please stand and be recognized. This board is a fantastic board, and they work tirelessly to make sure everything happens. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you to your service to VICA. A few more people I'd like to recognize are our moderators and speakers from the morning's panels. I had the honor of hearing our economists, and I know the other panels were fantastic. If you're here, if you could please stand and be recognized. Great job in helping lead those panels and discussions. I just want to give you a reminder. At your seat, there's an exit survey for the luncheon and the day overall. As you know, VICA cares about your feedback. They want to always improve upon their events, so please take the time to fill that out. And right now, we are going to take a short break and enjoy your lunch, and then we're back for our keynote speaker today. Very excited to have Dennis Arriola, President and CEO of Southern California Gas Company, who I'm looking forward to, and I hope you are as well, hearing from him after our lunch. Please enjoy your lunch. Thank you, everyone, for being here. The co-sponsor for today, I'd like to thank LA Department of Water and Power Commissioner Jill Barad. Thank you so much. VICA's Chairman Kobe King, President and CEO of High Point Strategies. Our Track 4 sponsor, Mike Carter, Executive Director for the Woodland Hills Medical Center of Kaiser Permanente. Lisa Pitney, Vice President of Government Relations for the Walt Disney Company, our luncheon sponsor. And of course, our keynote speaker, Dennis Arriola, President and CEO for Southern California Gas Company. And to the right, this looks like it's out of order. Uh-oh. So this is a test, but thank goodness I know everybody. Okay, I'll start with Kevin. Kevin Tamaki, our Director of External Affairs for AT&T, our panel sponsor. Steve Nissen, our Senior Vice President of Legal and Government Affairs for Comcast NBC Universal, a panel sponsor. Brad Rosenheim, our President of Rosenheim and Associates, and our VICA Vice Chair. Lauren Gallant, our Assistant Director of Government and Community Relations for City of Hope and our panel sponsor. Thank you, Lauren. And nobody knows the guy at the end. Our very own, the reason we are here today, and of course all of our VICA staff, but our very own President of VICA, Stuart Waldman. And he knows a lot about kid parties as well. So we're always comparing notes. I'd like to also thank a few of our other sponsors, our co-sponsors for today, additional. We have Aerojet, Rocketdyne, the Los Angeles Daily News, and the San Fernando Valley Business Journal. Our other, thank you so much. Our other track sponsors, Caruso Affiliated and Southwest Airlines, and our breakfast sponsor, California State University Northridge. We also want to thank all the rest of our sponsors, advertisers, and exhibitors that helped make this event a success. A list of them can be viewed in the event journal, on the PowerPoint presentation that has been running while you were having your lunch, and on the banners you see here and all throughout the hotel. VICA truly appreciates the support of our members, and it's great to see many companies who find this event important. I know I do. Now, it's my pleasure to bring up Lisa Pitney, our Vice President of Government Relations from the Walt Disney Company, to introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Marla. It's really our pleasure to be the luncheon sponsor again for this great event. VICA's had some incredible speakers today, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker. But before I do that, and I know VICA's going, oh no, she's going off script, but I have to take this opportunity to thank the leadership of VICA and the membership of VICA for their strong support and advocacy for AB 1839, the production tax incentive that passed this year in California. VICA was a supporter from the very beginning, and because of the legislation that the governor signed this year, there will be more production in California, and that means more production jobs in California. So thank you very much, everyone in VICA. And now, my great honor to introduce Dennis Arriola, the President and CEO of Southern California Gas Company. Dennis has spent most of the past 20 years in a broad range of leadership roles for the Sempra Energy companies. From 2006 to 2008, he was Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of both SDG&E and SoCalGas. Previously, Dennis also served as Vice President of Communications and Investor Relations for Sempra Energy and was Regional Vice President and General Manager of Sempra's South American operations. And he first joined the company in 1994 as Treasurer for Pacific Enterprises SoCalGas. He currently serves on the Board of Directors for the American Gas Association, the United Way of Greater Los Angeles, Western Energy Institute, the California Business Roundtable, Latino Donor Collaborative, and Southern California Leadership Council. He has an amazing resume, and I was actually a little awed when I was reading over the accomplishments. So, again, my great pleasure to introduce Dennis Arriola.
Thank you, Lisa, very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Before I get started with my formal remarks, I'd like to find out how many people do we have here today that either have served in the military or have somebody whose family members has served. Please stand up. We want to look at, please stand up. Let's thank these people and their family members for what they've done for our country. Thank you. I also want to recognize my great team from Southern California Gas Company. I see them over there. Thank you for not throwing rolls around like you do at most of the lunches we go to. You know, SoCalGas has been a proud member of VICA since 1988, and we share so many of the same common goals and values, and the specific one to enhance the economic vitality of the greater San Fernando Valley region. And, you know, I had a chance not to listen to all the tracks this morning, but I did listen to the one talking about what was going to happen or forecasted what's going to happen in California through 2035. And I got to tell you, it was a lively discussion. Two of the speakers over here. Thank you very much for that conversation. Tim Draper was one of the speakers there, and for those of you that don't know Tim, he's a very shy, unopinionated person that is espousing an idea about 6 Californias. And whether you agree with that or not, I think what's important is to get ideas out on the table. Not all ideas are going to work. Not all of them maybe sound great from the very beginning, but I think, you know, pushing our economy forward is about bringing people together and having different types of ideas, having the diversity of people and experiences to be able to put things forward. But as I listened to that track, and as I've had a chance to talk to a lot of you, you know, what I did walk away with is that we're all probably focused on the same thing, and especially here today. The first is, how do we change the outlook from good with a question mark to strong with an exclamation point? And how do we make sure that the laws and the regulations that are passed within our cities, our counties, and at the state really actually promote healthy economic activity rather than stifle growth? And how do we develop an educated and vibrant workforce that is going to allow all people to participate in a growing economy? And then, maybe even more difficult, how do we do all of this while making sure that we have clean air and that we have clean water to drink and that we have a healthy environment that we can all enjoy and affordable and reliable energy for the future? I mean, when you think about all those things, they're really difficult challenges. But I'm not so sure that they're not insurmountable. And that's why when I walked away from the panel this morning, it would be very easy to say, boy, we've got a lot of problems, things aren't going to get better. But I'm really optimistic. And I actually think that these challenges and the solutions to them are really not at odds. It's how we approach them. It's about making sure, like I said, that we're open to new ideas, that we're willing to compromise, that we're focusing on real objective data and science and not necessarily just what's the flavor of the month or what idea is going to pull the best that month. It's about anticipating, what happens when your plan A doesn't go exactly like we originally forecasted, and making sure that we can manage and mitigate the risks associated with unintended consequences when laws are passed by our elected and appointed officials in City Hall or the state capitol. And as business owners and operators that all of you are, I mean, we all know that the buck starts and it stops with us. And I know that, when I get together with my folks at SoCal Gas, we don't talk about, well, I tried hard. It's not about the effort, it's about the results. And I think that's why groups like VICA are so important. And I applaud you because not just as an overall association, but because of what you do at the grassroots level in your cities and the counties that you participate in, but probably even more importantly for what you do in Sacramento, because your voice collectively and individually really does make a difference. Absolutely. And I saw that firsthand last year when Southern California Gas Company was championing through a bill called AB 1257, the Natural Gas Policy Act. And when we talked to people at VICA about, would you be interested in supporting, it didn't take a minute. You realized that this was a bill, it wasn't about selling more gas. This was about making sure that we secured a clean burning, abundant, inexpensive fuel that could help continue to fuel our economy in the state going forward. So as a result, we collectively were able to get that through the Assembly and the Senate, and the governor signed it. And now we're working with the California Energy Commission to make sure that natural gas is part of our energy portfolio of the future, not an afterthought. To make sure that natural gas can help clean our environment and help fuel our economy and hopefully help stimulate more jobs. Throughout most of the United States, natural gas is recognized as something very positive, especially if you're in the Northeast where you're converting from heating oil to natural gas, or if you're in the Southeast where there's a huge transition from a coal-based economy to using natural gas to generate electricity. And given the discoveries of both natural gas and oil over the last 5 to 7 years, it's really exciting to say we as a country are becoming energy independent. I mean, who would have thought that just 10 years ago? That's going to change so much, not just here in our country, but throughout the world. How we deal with other countries from a geopolitical perspective. What that does for potential job creation beyond what we already have. What that does for us to be able to export commodities that previously we were beholden to other countries. And now there's an abundance of these resources. Now, we obviously have to make sure that however we take advantage of these resources, we do it respecting the environment, respecting the water tables, respecting the communities where we serve. But I tell you, it's an exciting time to be in the energy industry, and I hope that you agree that having access to cheaper energy going forward is going to help all of your businesses as well. The challenge that we have, you know, I'd like to clap as well, but I'll tell you the challenge that we have, and I was just earlier this week, I was at our trade association, the American Gas Association, and it was interesting because probably the other 49 states, the representatives from those companies, they were ecstatic about what natural gas is doing there. And then I got a chance to talk about, well, I'm from California, and we look at things a little bit differently here. And that's not to say that the environmental goals and, you know, the directives that we have are bad. That's not at all. I support them. But natural gas is being pitted against renewable energy. And I had the opportunity during my the last several years, I actually took a little sabbatical from SoCalGas, and I had a chance to work for a solar company up in Silicon Valley. And I'm convinced renewable energy, including solar power, is part of the solution. It really is, and costs continue to come down, and there are definitely applications where both solar, wind, and geothermal are part of what's going to continue to fuel our country and especially our state. But to basically say that those are the only solutions, that technology and the abundance of these resources we're finding are not going to be part of an overall portfolio is kind of like saying, you know what, I'm going to put all of my retirement savings into Google and forget about everything else. Well, you know what, you might be right. Google might be the best investment around, but is that what wise people do? You talk about a portfolio, you talk about diversifying your overall risk, and what natural gas can do for us and what it's doing for us is it's helping us clean the environment. And like I said, it's helping fuel the economy because the prices are low. And so as environmentalists and many of our state agency representatives talk about natural gas as a bridge fuel, you know, part of my job is to say, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. And it's not because I'm at SoCalGas, it's because I've had an opportunity to look at other energy sources and what we can do as a state to really, you know, continue to grow. A little known fact, Southern California Gas Company does not make more money the more gas we sell. In fact, we have incentives, and we've been investing in incentives to reduce the amount of energy used by all of you as individuals and as your businesses. So it's not about us selling more product. That's not the point. It's about how can we have a better overall energy portfolio to fuel our economy. So I guess you're not going to be surprised that I'm going to say I think that natural gas is part of the solution. I truly believe that because I've looked at it, you know, from other countries that I've been able to work in, other states that I've been able to work in other industries. But don't get me wrong, as our environmentalists and as our state representatives, you know, think and dream big, that's a good thing. It's important to have big dreams. It's important to have big, hairy, audacious goals of where we need to go from an environmental standpoint and from an educational standpoint and from an employment standpoint. And I think, you know, I bet if I took a poll here, nobody would raise their hand and would say, I want a dirty environment. I want dirty water. I want more smog in the air. I think we're all in cahoots there to say we want those things. The question is, how do we get there in a balanced way? How do we get there recognizing that we still want to live in this environment, this beautiful place that we call California, and we want to make sure that there's jobs, but we want to have respect for the environment as well. And that's the challenge. But I think that there's opportunities to deal with it. SoCalGas, we're based here in Los Angeles, and we've been around for 140 years. We've got about 8,300 employees throughout our service territory that goes as far north as Visalia, goes down to the Orange County, San Diego line. We go all the way out to Arizona, Nevada, and touch the Mexican borders. We have over 100,000 miles of pipes in the ground, a lot of pipes. And so we touch over 500 cities and communities throughout our service territory. And so we're invested in those, not just because we do business there, but because our employees are part of those communities. So we're especially interested in what's going on the grassroots level and from an environmental standpoint. And so when we look at the opportunities that we have to help our local economies, to help the environment, and to help from an educational standpoint, it's a great time to be at our company. And when I look at what we can do to continue to improve our customers' lives, and when I talk about our customers, I'm talking about the residential, the business, and the industrial, there's things that we believe natural gas is already doing, but we think we can do even more. One of the areas that we're really focused on is transportation. In addition to that, helping to clean up our ports. And for those of you that may have seen an article this morning in the Los Angeles Times, it talked about the recent studies that the South Coast Air Quality Management District came out with. Things are getting better. I mean, I grew up here in the early 60s in the city of Artesia, not too far from here, and I remember looking outside my backyard where you couldn't see the San Gabriel Valley Mountains. In fact, I didn't know that there were mountains out there until I was a teenager. And I remember several pounds ago, I used to run cross country and track in high school, and I remember we had those things called smog alerts, days where we couldn't even go outside. Well, because of policy directions and goals that were set and technology that's come into play like catalytic converters and new cleaner fuels, I think we've got a much cleaner environment. And the study that came out in the LA Times said, you know, we're really making progress, but it's not enough. And especially in those neighborhoods that surround the ports, that surround the freeways, where you've got a lot of heavy-duty trucks or the railroads going through, we need to continue to do more. And that's an area that we're excited about because we think and we know that natural gas is part of the solution there. So we're focused on doing things there. The list of challenges that we have, though, is really difficult. And I don't need to tell you, as California business owners and operators, we are not the easiest state to do business in. You know, I think you got to give a lot of credit to the people, the elected officials that go up to Sacramento or are in our city councils that are trying to do a good job. But it doesn't always seem that we're moving as quickly or as effectively as we'd like to. You look at the list of challenges, and I got to tell you, we've got a different challenge than a lot of you other companies. I can't just pick up my pipes and go to another state if I don't like what's going on here. So we've got to figure out what are we going to do, how are we going to get involved at the state level, at the county level, and at the city level to try to change the stuff. Because it's not good enough to sit on the sidelines and say, well, it's somebody else's problem. It's all of our problem. And then once again, that's why I commend VICA and all of your members, because you guys get involved. Your voice is being heard. But when you look at the list of challenges that we have as business owners, as we want to just either maintain our business or grow it, you've got air quality and emission requirements. You've got new regulations and permitting policies. We've got aging employees and future workforce development. I mean, these are just some of the obstacles that we face. So, you know, I don't want this to be a down lunch here. I'm actually optimistic. I think there are things that we're all working on that can actually make our economy better, that can actually clean our environment faster, that can actually get more people employed so that we can try to fix our broken educational system. And I really believe that natural gas is one of the tools that we can do to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, natural gas can help clean and improve our environment. It's going to create, and it's starting to create more jobs, and I'll talk about that in a second. In addition, because of what's going on in our industry, we're helping to develop the future workforce and especially focus on the STEM programs where we need more and more women, men, and diverse candidates to go through our system. There's too many kids that are being left behind, and that's one of the things where I think we all collectively, we can't just leave it to our public school system. Companies and business have got to get involved in education. Not just because it's the right thing to do, it's a good business thing to do. Those are the people that we're going to be hiring down the road, so we've got to get more involved in that. But let me start with the environment, what we're doing there. As I said, California's got some of the most stringent air quality standards in the nation, and we've got extremely aggressive goals to limit greenhouse gas. Very admirable. You know, we're starting to do more in the measurement area, but I think as somebody said this morning in the track, it's not just about California do it. We've got to figure out how we convince the rest of the world, because we can do everything we want here, but if China and India and Pakistan and other countries aren't participating, it's not going to go very far. But what many people in our state really aren't as focused on, and this is something that we're trying to create awareness to, is the fact that we've also got federal targets related to the Clean Air Act, which require a 75 to 90% reduction in combustion emissions, basically smog, you know, particulate matters and NOx. And if we don't meet, as California, these standards, we can have a lot of different funding cut off, including transportation. And we here in the South Coast Air Quality Management District, as well as the San Joaquin Valley, we're in the two areas of the United States that are non-attainment areas. And that's why you don't hear a lot of other parts of California or the rest of the country really talk about what's going on from a NOx and an EPA standpoint. It's because it's our problem. Now, we've made a lot of improvements in everything, but we've got to make more. One of the things that's been suggested that if we don't meet our federal mandates to reduce the overall emissions is the feds can come in and take control of managing our emissions. And one of the crazy ideas that's been floated around is, why don't we start instituting no driving days? Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't take a horse here, or I didn't ride my bike from Los Angeles. And I bet that I'm sure that some people took public transportation, and that's great if you're close to those things. But I think most of us here in California, and especially Los Angeles, we love our cars and we live and die by our cars. I can't imagine if we started instituting no driving days, what that would do to our personal lives, our professional lives, and our economy here. So, you know, what are we going to do about it? Southern California Gas Company, again, is really focused on the transportation side. We're starting with heavy-duty trucks where the technology today is economical and it's bringing down the overall cost of running, whether it's buses, and we've seen that here with the bus systems throughout Southern California, which have been some of the leaders throughout the country. We're seeing it more on delivery trucks, whether it's folks like UPS, Federal Express, the grocery store chains that are starting employment. But you're going to see us become much more aggressive and helping to educate what is available on the transportation side. But there's other things that we can be doing. Let's talk about the ports, and I touched on this. There are things that we can do today in the ports because of the railroads that are going in and out, because of the drayage machinery that's being used there, because of the ships that are standing by that have to make sure that their engines are running. We can be using natural gas to reduce the amount of pollution and contaminants in the air. And so we're talking right now with the Port of Long Beach and with the Port of Los Angeles as well as Hueneme to see how we can get involved in that. And because of the passage of AB 628, or the ports bill last year, the utilities, including SoCalGas, now have the opportunity to work directly with the ports to put together their energy management plans. The other thing on the transportation side that I missed was, if you look at the residential or the light vehicle duty vehicles, today in California and in the United States, there's only one manufacturer of a passenger vehicle, and that's Honda, and it's the Honda Civic, and it's a great vehicle, and it uses compressed natural gas as its primary engine source. Today, for the most part, that vehicle is used for fleets, and I know that there's a lot of companies here that have incorporated those vehicles into their fleets, and it's saving them money, it's helping them from the environmental standpoint. But if you go to Europe today, there are over 30 vehicles from various manufacturers that manufacture passenger vehicles. Mercedes, BMW, Honda, Fiat, Audi, a lot of different, actually kind of fun, nice-looking cars. And one of the things that we're trying to do is to make sure that consumers have choices, that these vehicles can be permitted to be brought in to our, to Southern California. And then what we're going to be doing is working more to try to create the fueling infrastructure so that people have security that they can fuel their vehicles throughout Southern California, including new technology that will allow people to fuel at home. There are basically home fueling appliances that'll hook up into your plumbing, into your gas system at home so that you can always fill up at home. So those are the types of things that we're working on. Technology, it continues to change, and it's exciting what's going on. We think the government should be setting the goals and then allowing market participants to come in and solve the problems. Don't necessarily decide what the answers are from a government standpoint, but solving the problems. And technology is starting to do this. We're starting to see natural gas-fired fuel cells. We're seeing microturbines. I mean, just down the street here in Chatsworth, we've got Capstone Turbine Corporation that's manufacturing microturbines that utilize natural gas. We've worked with, for example, Pratt & Whitney Rocketdyne to install a gas fuel cell that it generates sufficient power to power 40 homes, which is equivalent to taking 120 cars off the street. And the costs continue to come down. It's an economies of scale game. As this gets accepted, as the market sees that there's more acceptance for these products, similar to solar, the prices will come down and we're going to see more and customers will have more choices. On the economy standpoint, some of you may be saying, what is this guy talking about? You know, what happened to my good old gas company, the folks that used to come by and, you know, check my furnace every year or check my water heater, and I used to see the friendly meter reader, and I'd let my dog run after him or her. You remember those days? Well, the meter readers are going away. Thankful for them, because we're installing advanced meters. But we're not going to deviate from our core business. Look, we can't expect our customers and others to trust us if we don't get our core business right. So, you know, 99% of our time is still going to be focused on delivering safe, reliable, cost-effective fuel to all of our customers. And I hope you're all paying your bills on time, because I do have a list here. But it's something that, look, we know that we've got to do it right. Now, we all know that everything you read in the press is 100% accurate, right? Yeah. Well, there was some stories last week. Yeah, exactly. There were some stories in some national newspaper that talked about what was going on in the natural gas industry and how unsafe pipelines were and these fireballs going throughout the country and everything. Let me tell you, what got lost in the headlines is the fact that the Southern California gas system is one of the safest around. And it's something that we look at day in and day out. It's something that over the next 5 years, we're going to be investing $6.2 billion to make sure that it stays safe and that it grows appropriately with the needs to service your overall needs. We've got a program that's called our Pipeline Safety Enhancement Plan, or PSEP. And if you've worked at all with utilities, you know we have an acronym for everything. So, you know, PSEP is the name of this program. But it's a program that was mandated by the Public Utilities Commission, and it wants to make sure that we pressure test or replace certain transmission pipelines based on risk factors, including age. So we're in the process of doing that. We've got a plan, and I know that just here in the San Fernando Valley, one of the lines in Encino was tested. It runs along the Ventura Boulevard. Everything came out fine, no issues, no concerns. But for any of those that you may have been inconvenienced by that, we apologize. But those are the types of activities that we have to do to make sure that our system is safe. But what we wanted to do from an economic standpoint is say, okay, we know how much money we're spending, but what impact does that have on the rest of the economy? So we brought in a third-party research firm that looked at that, and basically the overall numbers are actually pretty staggering. The economic infusion of the PSEP plan is going to be about $2.4 billion over the next 5 to 7 years. In Southern California alone, the impact is going to be about $1.9 billion. From a jobs perspective, there's going to be about 2,400 jobs that are created directly or retained as a result of this, and about 1,800 of those jobs will be here in the greater Southern California area. And when you look at the national picture, because we do procure some goods from outside, there's going to be about 18,000 jobs nationally, and more than 14,000 of those will be in the Southern California area that will be directly or indirectly related to our programs. Now, we have to pay taxes too, so the state and local taxes there'll be about 9 million generated there, and then the feds will get about 23 million. And that's just in the first phase of our project. So we're excited about what we're doing because we think it's going to continue to give confidence to our customers that we're going to be able to continue to provide safe and reliable service. The third prong that I wanted to touch on quickly, because it's something that's very near and dear to my heart, is education. You know, we talked about, and I'm sure in several of the different tracks that was talked about, one of the big challenges we have in California, and unfortunately we're not ranking very well when it comes to education. And from a SoCalGas perspective, we've got 8,300 employees, and over the next 5 to 7 years, over 50% of our employee base is going to be eligible to retire. Now, whether they do or not is not the story. The question is, are we going to be ready for it as a company? And if you look across the country, most industrial service companies are going through the same thing. I mean, whether you like it or not, baby boomers, we're getting older. I mean, it's funny, I think every week I get a mail ad from the AARP that reminds me how much older I'm getting. But when I look at our workforce, we've got a lot of employees that have been with us for 30 or 40 years, and replacing that institutional knowledge and experience doesn't happen overnight. So, you know, this is a problem, but it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for our company, and hopefully your companies as well, to get directly involved in education to help prepare our workforce for the future. And one of the things that we're doing is we're working directly with schools and with trade techs and junior colleges to try to identify those skill sets that are not just necessarily needed for our industry, but for any industry. And we're working with the United Way in introducing the linked learning system, where companies like ours and yours can get involved directly and partner with schools and get your employees involved. And I'll tell you, if you have any interest in doing that, it's a great program. You get a lot of satisfaction out of working with young kids that really do want to learn, and you help them create a vision of what is possible. Because so many people, young people in our society, don't think there's anything out there for them. These types of programs basically paint a dream for them, and then it gives them a road to get there. So education for me has been a big deal. It's allowed me to get to where I am, and I want to help others achieve their dreams as well. So overall, I really am optimistic about what's going on in California. I think that California's energy, economic, and educational future has challenges. There are some headwinds, but collectively, like I said, if we bring big ideas to the forefront, if we're open to diverse ideas and perspectives on how to address these things, and we're smart, I think we can change things. And I think the outlook is strong. I think it's strong for natural gas to improve air quality and help California reach its environmental goals. I think the outlook is strong to continue to fuel economic development, drive new technologies, and create new jobs. And I think the outlook is strong for natural gas specifically to help educate and employ a new generation of workers. And at Southern California Gas Company, we believe that we can take a good outlook with a question mark, and working with all of you and all of our other business customers and with our legislators and policymakers, we can turn that good outlook into a strong one with an exclamation point, and we look forward to continuing to work with VICA and all of you to make that happen. Thank you very much.
That was fantastic. That was, Dennis, thank you, because that was one of the most engaging speeches I've heard, so that was wonderful. Thank you so much. I was thinking about what he was saying, so thank you so much. I get the fun job of presenting a gift. So thank you for speaking. Thank you for inspiring us. You get a gift for that. So I'm betting it's the one with your name on it. Yes. May I present this to you, Dennis, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to invite up our VICA chairman to say a few words and do the highly anticipated raffle. There he is, there.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Dennis. Thanks for coming and spending the afternoon with us. A great speech and very thought-provoking, and I think a lot of the things that you talked about are things that we're going to be working on next year, so we look forward to working with you and your team. I know for me, this has been a great day, very thought-provoking from the business forecast in the morning, all the panels this afternoon. I was able to moderate the transportation panel. It was great, and I heard from many of the other panels that they were really wonderful as well. So what I'd like to do first, before we get on to the raffle, and remember, I'm glad you all are here because one of VICA's rules is you must be here to win. Let's recognize our presenting sponsor, Wells Fargo, and all the generous sponsors of the 26th Annual Business Forecast Conference one more time. We appreciate all of our sponsor support. It's really, without that support, we would not be able to do what we do. All right, so now I get to do the raffle drawings. Thank you to the companies who donated the raffle items. We've really got quite a few great prizes this year. We're going to start with the bingo card raffle first and then move on to the attendance raffle. So thanks to everyone who went to all the exhibit booths and filled out your bingo card. Because you did this, you have a chance to win. It's a great list. 2 people have a chance to win a round-trip Southwest Airlines ticket. 2 people have a chance to win a round-trip Seaport Airlines ticket. We have 2 tickets to What the Butler Saw at the Mark Taper, one $50 gift card to Stonefire Grill, and a $50 gift card to Amazon. And as I implied a minute ago, to qualify for the raffle, you had to get your bingo card completed by our exhibitors. You must be present to win the raffle, so please stand up so we can make sure that our winners are still here. Your prizes can be claimed at the registration booth right outside over there in the foyer. Dennis, would you mind coming back up and help with this? Yep. Okay, just reach in there and grab a...
It better not be a SoCal gas card.
All right. All right, the first Southwest Airlines ticket goes to Carmen Bowen from Concord. Is Carmen here? All right, great. All right, Dennis, got 5 more to go, I think. Okay, I saw her here. I think she's still here from MWD, Jackie McMillan. All right, that was for the second Southwest Airlines ticket. And now for the first Seaport Airlines ticket. From the Garland, Kaylee Young. Is Kaylee here? All right, fantastic. All right, now for the second Seaport Airlines ticket. From Republic Services, Rafael Garcia. Rafael still here? Oh, there he is. Great. All right, and now for the tickets to What the Butler Saw. And the winner is from BBSI, Rochelle Nitka. Is that right? Rochelle here? All right, great. And the $50 Stonefire gift card is next. Thank you. Dennis, you're doing a great job. From somewhere in the city of LA, Ernesto Hidalgo. Is Ernesto here? Our first one. You cruise, you lose. All right, from Transamerica, Lance Ayler. All right. Okay, and the last drawing for this raffle, the Amazon gift card. And the winner, printed my own business cards. Pamela Berg from MP Printing and Mailing. All right, fantastic. All right, remember you can claim your gifts at the registration table. All right, Dennis, don't go away. We've got more. Oh no, Lisa gets to do this part. Okay, so thanks everybody. Now, Lisa, we'll do the attendance raffle. I'm particularly interested in that Kaiser Permanente Thrive bicycle, but since I didn't throw my card in, I won't be there. All right, now, in order, we're going to do the bicycle first, and you had a chance to win one of these events if you tweeted or Facebook with the VICA hashtag during the event. All right, so the Kaiser Permanente Thrive bicycle, the 3-day Galpin Motors Mustang rental, a $50 Stonefire gift card, and a $50 Amazon gift card. Again, as always, you must be present to win. And are we giving 2 prizes to the same person? No? Okay. One of you won't know. All right, let's... Okay, for the bicycle, VICA board member, Maricel Gomez.
She's not here.
Is she here? I saw her. We'll give her 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Oh, so sad, so sad. I'll be letting her know later today. All right.
I think she went to the bathroom. Somebody ran after her.
All right.
Is she gone? Say?
Oh, you can't go in the ladies' room after her.
Well, you must be present to win, so don't drink any more iced tea. All right, so the Mustang rental goes to, from American Business Machines, Chris Chaplot. I think I've got that right. Is Chris here? Oh, boy. Gonna be here for a while, Lisa. Oh wait, that was still the bike. We haven't given out the bicycle yet, right? All right, we're still on the bike. All right, from Fresh and Easy, Robin Howard. Nope. Wow. Okay, all right, again, for the bicycle, let's try to, this is, I think, the fourth card. From the El Proyecto Work Source, Yakira Chambers. All right, we have a winner. All right, this is for the Mustang rental now. Okay, right up here at the head table from NBC Universal, Mr. Steve Nissen. Enjoy the Mustang rental, Steve. All right, so we're going to mix up the cards a little more for our last two. $50 Stonefire gift card is next. And from Harrison Chevalier, Derek Chevalier. Derek here? Just left. Bummer. Let him know. I was at an event about a year ago where you had to be present to win, and it was an all-expense trip to China, to Hong Kong. And the person had just left. It was, I let him know. All right. From Wells Fargo, Narbelli Petrosian. All right. Is Marcella here? Yeah. All right. We'll give her the $50 Amazon gift card. How about that? All right. All right. Congratulations again. And now, to end this great event, we have our esteemed President, Stuart Waldman.
All right. So very important, when you leave, do not go to the automated exit. Go to the one where there's a person. Otherwise, your validation does not work. So that is very important. So go that way, not that way. This has been a really good year for VICA. We had a 71% success rate with the legislature and the governor. And that really is because of the hard work of all of you and our VICA staff. And we go up to Sacramento every month. We had about 60 different VICA members who came with us to meet with legislators. Now, housekeeping. You have an exit survey. Please fill them out. It's important to help us know what we should be doing next year. We need the feedback. You can email them. You can fax them. And importantly, I want to thank the VICA staff and our volunteers today. Apparently, they're all working except for Doug, who's there. And actually, I want to thank Doug, who coordinated all of our speakers for all the events and all the panels, and he did a great job. Also, we had kids from Granada Hills Charter High School who came out and volunteered, and they did a tremendous job. So let's thank them as well. Thank you all. See you again next year.